Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about zodiac sign compatibility between Cancer and Leo. And yes, it does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant for both people of both signs. Now, anyway, you look at this combination. Well, the first thing is they are adjacent by sign. They're one sign apart. So by sign, I consider this neutral. You have a certain commonality with this. Both signs are very loyal, can be very steadfast and tenacious. You have, though, the biggest disparity I see between these people, these signs, is that Cancer, being a feminine sign, is of course introverted, can be somewhat introspective. And you look at Leo, and Leo is almost the antithesis of Cancer this way, because Leo can be very gregarious and extroverted, and Leo is of course a masculine sign, which suggests extroversion. And you look at the two, Leo, it can be strongly about attention seeking, and Cancer is really not the type that's enthralled by really getting attention or notoriety or any recognition really for things. Cancer, being as loyal as they can be, though, can help Leo in pursuit of some kind of adulation or recognition for their achievements, if that's necessary, and if the situation does call for this. Cancer will definitely have Leo's back more often than not, I believe. And the thing about this is, the one positive side is that the fact that both these signs can have unprecedented loyalty. You have Leo, which is really strongly about loyalty. Cancer, being very tenacious, is really one and can be clinging. They have really the stick-to-itiveness to a relationship, and whether this is a platonic or sexual, romantic, that the thing about this is neither one of these signs will be at fault for having a lack of persistence in terms of the loyalty aspect of this. And you have the thing about this is, though, you have to look at Leo, and Leo being a fire sign, really the fire signs, I believe, tend to be the most outspoken and blunt of the signs. And you know that Cancer can be very sensitive. Now, the thing about it is, a lot of times Leo may say something and it's not necessarily malicious, but it's really can be a strong, outspoken remark. And Cancer is a type that can be taken aback by this. Cancer can have a strong aversion to ridicule or any derisive remark, and so a lot of times these are unintentional slights by Cancer, at least what they may construe as a negative remark or commentary from someone. And Cancer can withdraw into that shell, so to speak, when this happens. And Cancer, a lot of times their defense mechanism can be connected with retreating and becoming very reticent and taciturn and really very quiet. And Leo really cannot always grasp this. And the thing about this is, Cancer can sometimes be about, as far as on a real negative expression, can be about some manipulation as far as emotional ones. They can maybe, for example, pretend like something hurt them or upset them more than it did, in order to bring that other person to him or her more. And really, this is really something where that has to be looked at, perhaps, in this combination. And I'm just saying Cancer in the worst manifestation or expression, and I'm not saying all Cancers are like that. But anyway, the thing too is that what you have to look at with this combination is that Leo can be a domineering personality. Now, Cancer can be the opposite, can be somewhat timid and submissive. And really, though, Cancer can naturally fall into that role, but at the same time can become sensitive to, perhaps, maybe at times Leo might be seen as someone that's a little bit too orderly or bossy at times, in a negative expression for Leo. Now, as far as in the bedroom goes, well, this combination can be such where, okay, as I stated before, the loyalty, okay, I talked about that with both signs, and that can apply to the bedroom as well. Leo can be very passionate. They really they could put a lot of exuberance into the bedroom situation, and you have Cancer can really be very nurturing and show strong love and emotional connection. Try to have an emotional connection with Leo. The thing about it is, though, because Cancer's wavering temperament, they might not always be in the mood to have this when Leo wants it. Leo may want to say, well, I want this now, but Cancer may not always be ready to comply, so to speak, because of the vacillation with moods with the sign Cancer. And I think that's something to look at as far as this combination goes. But I think if these two were to collaborate, say, on some creative endeavor, I think it could be very positive, because Cancer can have very good intuitive ability. They're can be insightful, while Leo can be very creative, and they could really maybe do something special together as far as this goes, regardless whether it's a platonic, sexual, romantic, significant other situation or what have you. Now, it's also important to look at the aspect, if any, that is made between the energies of these two peoples. This could indicate as to whether there may be a little better compatibility than otherwise indicated, or maybe about the same or not as much. Well, anyway, people, you have, let's say, for example, you can have an out-of-sign conjunction take place between the energies of these people. Let's say, for example, one person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Cancer at 29 degrees, and the other person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Leo at 1 degree. This could be very intensifying, and really it can be considered where you have this strong intensification, but the other times you could have some friction as well in this particular aspect. And I think that's something to consider if you have the aspect connect with these people as far as the conjunction goes. And keep in mind, they are still neutral by sign. So you do have that to look at as well when you're analyzing as far as this aspect and as far as the general synastry goes. Now, another thing to look at, another possibility, is you can have a semisextile aspect take place between the energies of these people. Now, let's say one person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Cancer at 12 degrees, and the other person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Leo at 12 degrees. Well, that I consider slightly positive. It is an auspicious aspect, but it is minor, so it's not as strong as perhaps a sextile aspect. Now, the thing, though, is you could have a little bit better blending of the energies because of this. A little bit more harmony exists between these two people than as opposed to otherwise indicated, as opposed to the general compatibility of these signs indicated by what I was talking about before I went to the aspects. But you still have to factor that into consideration into the equation as well. Now, you could also have an out-of-sign sextile aspect take place, which could be positive and auspicious. Let's say, for example, one person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Cancer at 2 degrees, and the other person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Leo at 28 degrees. This could be considered auspicious and positive, and you could have more favorability and more harmony between these two people than what otherwise indicated. However, you still have to factor into the equation that they are neutral by sign, because they are adjacent signs. Now, the thing is, last but not least, you could have a semi-square aspect take place between the energies of these people. Let's say, for example, one person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Cancer at 4 degrees, and the other person has the sun, moon, or ascendant at Leo at 19 degrees. I call this slightly adverse or adversarial because it is a negative aspect, but it is minor, and you might have a little bit more disparity and a little bit more challenges that exist between these two people than otherwise indicated by the general compatibility of these two signs. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for zodiac sign compatibility between Cancer and Leo. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about zodiac sign compatibility between Cancer and Virgo. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.